let's jump right into today's explainer. We're looking at a massive, high-stakes political crisis pulled straight from the Mahabharata. Picture this: the ruling king's primary rivals, the Pandavas, were totally presumed dead. But suddenly, word drops that not only are they alive, but they've just secured a game-changing alliance through marriage. I mean, the balance of power has completely flipped overnight. So we're going to look at exactly how the ruling faction handles this absolute shock, using diplomacy to turn a potential disaster into a strategic win.
Okay, so let's dive into this. The core theme of our source text today isn't just some dusty story about ancient royals. It's actually, literally, a step-by-step playbook for public reconciliation. Think about it. When your presumed dead rivals suddenly show up with the backing of a massive foreign military, you can't exactly just declare war. You have to invite them back to the capital, you gotta smile, welcome them with open arms, and act like this was your master plan all along. Let's see exactly how this ancient masterclass in diplomacy plays out.
Act 1. The high-stakes pivot.
Now, real quick, as we unpack the text, it's worth noting the specific terminology used in this translation. King Drupada, who is the powerful monarch of the Panchalas and the major military muscle the Pandavas just aligned with, well, he is frequently referred to here as Yajna Sena, so keep that in mind so we don't get lost.
Also, the text frequently mentions bringing back Krishna of celestial beauty. In this specific context, this refers exclusively to the new bride, Draupadi. Actually, scratch that. Just to be crystal clear, we are not talking about Keshava or Vasudeva, who are also present in the text and known as Krishna. We're talking about the Panchala princess.
All right, with that established, let's examine King Dhritarashtra's immediate public pivot. He's the ruling monarch, right? And he's just received the news that the sons of Pandu survived a literally deadly trap and married into immense power. His immediate public reaction here is absolutely everything. He addresses his court and quickly establishes his stance. First up, he claims the Pandavas are his children according to the ordinance, just as entitled to the kingdom as his own sons. Second, he declares it is sheer good fortune they're alive. He even brings up that the man who plotted against them, Purachana, has perished and claims that his own great grief has been killed. I mean, it is a brilliant, immediate public relations spin. He's just radiating joyous relief that his rivals survived.
And this brilliantly illustrates the duality of political rhetoric. I mean, it's wild. Publicly, he frames this whole thing around family duty, calling them my children according to the ordinance. Super warm and paternal, right? But in the exact same speech, he slips into pure realpolitik, bluntly stating, it is from good fortune alone that our strength hath increased. You see what he did there? It's a highly pragmatic military calculation, completely masked as a loving family reunion.
Moving on to Act 2. Executing the emissary mission.
So, to prove his supposed sincerity, Dhritarashtra dispatches Vidura with an absolute mountain of wealth to execute a very strict diplomatic protocol. Vidura doesn't just barge in and demand the Pandavas' return, no way. Step 1, he formally and properly accosts the monarch Drupada. Step 2, they inquire after each other's mutual welfare. Standard stuff, right? Step 3, only then does he actually embrace the real targets of his mission, the Pandavas. And finally, Step 4, he strategically distributes all that massive wealth not just to the Pandavas, but to Drupada and his sons as well. It's just flawless, by-the-book statecraft.
Which brings us to Act 3, the art of the pitch.
You really have to notice the strategy Vidura uses to make his formal pitch here. He masterfully validates this new alliance by totally name-dropping the crew heavyweights. He tells Drupada that King Dhritarashtra has a joyous heart. He makes sure to mention Bhishma's great wisdom. And crucially, he singles out Drona, specifically noting him as Drupada's dear friend. Vidura is essentially proving that the entire Kuru power structure is 100% united in this request. It's a massive, calculated show of respect.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the sheer hyperbole of Vidura's pitch. Listen to this quote, O Yarjasena, the establishment of this alliance with thee hath made them happier than if they had acquired a new kingdom. I mean, wow, that is a killer quote of ancient diplomacy right there. He is straight up telling Drupada that this alliance is way more valuable to them than actual territorial conquest.
Vidura then turns up the pressure, but he does it in the most flattering way imaginable. He makes returning to their ancestral kingdom sound like an obvious, universally celebrated event. He tells Drupada that literally everyone is eagerly waiting for them back at the capital. We're talking the Kurus, all the Kuru ladies, the citizens, the subjects, the whole shebang. He specifically mentions they're desperate to behold not just the bulls among men, the Pandavas, but also Krishna, the Panchala princess. He's basically painting a picture of a giant ticker tape parade just waiting for them back home.
And that takes us to the final act, the impending reunion. So the crucial point here is that the ultimate goal of all this intense flattery and protocol was the actual physical return of the Pandavas. And Vidura? He tries to lock this deal down immediately. He outlines a super specific exit strategy. First, he asks Drupada for immediate permission for them to leave. Second, quick messengers are sent back to confirm the deal with Dhritarashtra. Third, the Pandavas set out right away with their mother Kunti and Draupadi. Vidura really wants to solidify this massive diplomatic win and get them on the road before the political winds have any chance to change.
So, the diplomatic mission was a total success. Vidura played his hand perfectly, and a huge crisis was averted through wealth, flattery, and strict protocol. But I want to leave you with a final thought here. The king invited his rivals back, and they accepted. But what happens when two rival claims to the throne finally share the exact same city again? This happy reunion was an absolute masterpiece of diplomacy for sure, but it's also a ticking time bomb. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer. Keep learning and keep analyzing the structures behind these incredible stories.